Hi, it's Gadget UK again. This is going to be part 3 of the 32x repair. I thought what I'd do is I'll just remove, because there's quite a lot still to do. I'll cover removing the chip, this TSOP Type II chip off here, the SDRAM, and cleaning up the case. And then the final part, when the chip arrives, because it's still not arrived here yet, will be the installation of that new chip and tidying up the board, because there's a few solder points need cleaning, as I said in the previous video, a few wires and things that need shortening as well. So just to start here, I'm just going to put a bit of flux on here. So I don't know how well it's coming out. It's like the flux grease. It's like the grease type stuff. This, and there's quite a lot there, and I'm well aware that's way too much. But this is just in order to get the chip quick, to make a reasonably good connection. When I'm removing chips like this, I tend to not use the good quality flux really, because it doesn't really make massive differences when you put them back on. You want to use the really good quality stuff. Right, so I've got my chip quick here, so it's a low melting point solder alloy, which means it will not take, it will hold the temperature, you know, it will stay molten. So let's give this a go. So this is a bit that I've reclaimed previously. As you can see, it's not straight from the thing here. I have to move across a little bit. Oh, this is still on camera. I'll just move the camera a little bit. So we'll just get enough of that on that side there. You don't want to put too much on, there probably is a bit too much there, but it should be okay. Same on the opposite side. And I've cleaned out my solder tray before I've started here, which I would recommend if you're going to use this chip quick stuff, just so you can reuse the stuff in future once you've moved the chip. I need a magic tool. You just need something sharp enough just to be able to get under there. As you can see, there we go, chip removed. So the trick now is to clean up. Remove this with a desolder pump, put it into your solder tray, melt it onto one block so you can reuse that at a later date. You want to try and heat these pads here for the minimum amount of, the least amount of time, just because they're pretty, they are fragile, these 32x boards. They're not particularly great pads, as we've seen. You know, somebody ripped a few off there when they've removed the wires. So I don't want to heat this for masses of time. Will do, I think. Clean that up with a desoldering braid now. But before I do that, I'm going to put a little bit more flux on there. In fact, there's enough flux on there actually, I can still see it on the board. Try to get some of the flux onto the end of the braid there. There's quite a lot of flux. So. Try not to focus heat too much in one place and be very, very careful, because you don't want to pull any of these off there. If you get stuck, you need to stop instantly and then apply enough heat to make sure that you free the braid. The key here is being really, really slow, but at the same time don't put too much temperature onto one area. Different people recommend different ways of doing this as well. Sometimes the best technique, or the technique that's recommended by some people, is to go down the way like that, because you've got less chance of pulling pad off the board. That's looking pretty clean already, to be fair, on that side. Okay. Just going to remove some of the solder from that test point there. Really doesn't need a big blob like that there. Let's just get some more flux into that. So there's still quite a lot of solder on there, so I'll just trim the end off and keep going, get some more flux, there. To be really slow, really slow. Make sure you don't get stuck, because you will lift the pad. And that's the aim, is not to lift pads. Just give one more go over there, there's just a tiny little bit left. So I'll get some more, start if I get some more flux. So I'll cut some of that flux from down there, a bit in the middle, and just carefully just go over again. Go, that's not too bad. So, final step now really with that is to clean that up with a bit of isopropyl, and we're ready for the chip when that arrives. So to remove the flux and stuff there, just a little bit of cotton bud's the best thing to do this with, really, just a tiny bit of isopropyl, and just very gently just sort of go around the area there where you've got the where you've done the work, where the flux has sort of just gone slightly over and what have you. You see, it comes off onto your rag there. Cotton bud is the best way of doing this, but really gently. You don't want to snag anything, pull any of it, lift any of these pads, lift the component, etc. Just need to clean all that, get all that flux off there. That's the key. Dirt that's around that area. So I hope that's coming out okay. You can see that's nice and clean there, ready for the new chip. Just thought I'd show you me cleaning up the cart slot here. I say the cart slot, it's not actually the connectors or the PCB itself, but as you can see, we've got some corrosion going on there on these pieces of shielding on both sides of that. So what I'm going to do is just lightly sand these down first with a really fine grate sandpaper with a bit of water. Be careful not to touch the plastic. And I've got some rust remover sort of gel there, so we'll put some of that on, leave it 15 minutes and see how it comes out. Right, I treated the initial rust on this with the that chemical compound stuff, rust remover, and as you can see it's considerably better. There's still some spots on there. I really should have done this step first really, but as you can see I'm just using some really fine grit sandpaper, and I've masked off all the plastic there because it doesn't come out, it's moulded in, and you can see the sort of melted from the inside. So yeah, what I'm going to do is, like I said, just sand these down with a little bit of sandpaper, masked it off so I can't scratch the plastic, and then once I've done that I'll give it a coat with the rust remover again, and then finish it off by wiping it with a coat of oil. Just to make sure you've got a good, because this is part of your common earth in there, it's just to make sure you've got good earthing. just a quick look there, you can see before and after, sort of after I've just given that a light sand down. So after I put some more rust remover on that, clean it up, that'll be good as new. But it's interesting the contrast there, that corroded surface compared to the bare metal there. It will look a lot better once it's cleaned up. Here's the second one's part 3. You can see, and look at the rust on that. You can see it coming off sort of brown and ready sort of colour. That one's a lot cleaner. That'll be much cleaner once I've used some more of the rust remover on it and given it a clean with some proper metal polish afterwards. Okay, so whilst that rust remover's working its last coat there on those bits of shielding, I thought I'd give the case a bit of a clean up. So as you can see, it's pretty marked. Probably not going to be able to do anything with that scratch there. You never know, it feels a bit indented, it feels like it's stuck out a little bit, it might be something stuck on there, not really sure. Bit of paint there, so all of this sort of stuff will come off with a good scrub. You could just put this in the sink using hot soap and water. Things like that, I'll show you, that'll come off with a bit of isopropyl. Kitchen towel. I don't think you can actually see that, it's just a little red fleck of paint there. And if I just give it a bit of a scrub, yeah, you can see that's coming off. There you go, you can see it's red on there. Yeah, so that's come off. Yeah, so I'll give it a bit of a clean, let's say, and then the final thing I use, and I've shown this before, plastics. It's designed for cars, automotive stuff, sort of cleaning PVC and plastic on cars. It's a very, very fine polish designed for plastics, so you can get all the little scratches and things out and it should come up a lot better. I'll just try and show you how I do this. I just get a little pea-sized amount like that, not very much at all. And it will go into all the nooks and crannies, so you're going to spend a bit of time cleaning this off afterwards. But if you just sort of smear it around a bit on the case there, try and distribute it as evenly as you can. After several seconds, it'll start to dry and it goes sort of a bit powdery kind of thing. But that's how it works. That's how the thing works. I'll probably go over this a couple of times because I've not got enough here, but if I now go back to the bit that starts to dry and give it a bit of a polish, circular motion, you'll see it should start to come up pretty good. And you can see you do get like a layer of dirt, even though this has already been washed in soap and water. You get like a layer of dirt that's ingrained in the scratches and the surface of the plastic that wouldn't normally come off with just soap and water. You have to use something like this, proper plastic polish. But as you can see, that's now starting to look pretty good. As I say, we'll go into the nooks and crannies here, so let's give this bit here a polish. So I don't know if you can see the contrast there. It's, this is looking a lot blacker. So as you can see there, it's come out a lot cleaner. You've still got some scratches on the front here that are obviously visible. There's one there that won't go away, and I can't do anything with that. It's like it feels like there's probably some sort of clear, transparent piece of plastic or something over that. I could risk trying to peel that off, but I could destroy it. So I'm just going to leave that as it is. But the final thing I do, I've shown this before as well, is just some use back to black silicone wax. Just to give it some people use WD-40, but personally I don't like that approach just because it stinks. It's like, you get the same effect though. Silicone wax perhaps doesn't last as long, but you will get the same sort of effect. You can see that's looking shiny already. As soon as I polish that in, we'll go into all the little nooks and crannies. And it gives it a really nice sort of new look, which does last quite a while. To be fair, let's see, it's looking pretty good that now, so I'll just finish doing the rest of the case. Okay, here's pretty much the final results on those bits of shielding. They were brown before, so they've got a dull metallic sort of colour, but nevertheless the rust's gone away there, so got some marks here from the stuff that I've been using to clean those. So I'll do exactly the same thing, added the case. Just get some of that PVC cleaner on there, just to clean up the case a bit. So we'll get a P of this on here. Probably a bit too much there actually, but because I only really need to go around the plastic bits. It was pretty scratched up this to start with, this casing. To be fair, someone I think had a go at trying to clean this up previously and not done a very good job. Yeah, there's a couple of scratches and things on the plastic there. You can see where perhaps like the gouges where it's actually gone in and out of a 32x Mega Drive or Genesis in the past. So, as I said, it can take you a while just to get it out of the nooks and crannies and things. You have to go around the edges of things with your nail or something, you know, just to get many of the polish and stuff out of the gaps. But the end result should be quite good, I think. Got like a little notch there, it's got a bit. There you go, you can see it's come out, so got an awful lot down there actually. So as you can see, that's an awful lot cleaner. Very final stage with this, when you've treated metals like that, you don't want them to obviously start corroding again. So this is where WD-40 does come in handy. And I just sort of spray a bit onto the rag like that. And just coat those plates and it like that. And I'll wipe this round in there in a minute with some cleaning stuff and use the back to black on there again. Same on the inside. I did have a go at trying to treat the rust on the inside, but it's very difficult to get to. But it's still worth putting some of the WD-40 just on the tops, wherever you've got corrosion in there where you've treated it. Just stop it occurring again, really. There you go, one side done. It's not too bad. So there you go. You can see the final results there now. Not perfect, some signs of pitting there, you know, from the corrosion, but this has got a nice layer of both WD-40 and silicone on it now, so it should be alright. Shouldn't, well, I say silicone, it's just on the plastic of the silicone. WD-40 is on the that metal shielding, but that'll go back together and we should get relatively good connectivity there. It can clean up those, you can see them in the light there when you get it at the right reflective angle. There's scratches there from where it's been inserted in the slot, but that's just wear and tear, and you don't see that anyway, it's inside the thing. But the main thing is you've not got that nasty corrosion there now. Still got a bit of that, you can see it, the polish there just in the corner. I just need to clean that out with something. You might get a needle or something just to scratch that out, those corners. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. That's a hell of a lot better. They were brown, just dark brown like red rust before, so yeah, that's pretty good. Thanks for watching, I'll see you soon.